Have you checked your bank account this month and wondered why some pensioners are suddenly getting nearly £2,000 while you're getting the usual amount? Right now, across Britain, hundreds of thousands of pensioners are waking up to double their normal state pension payment. And the only thing that decides whether you're one of them is two small digits at the end of your national insurance number. Those digits were assigned to you decades ago, long before you ever thought about retirement, and you had absolutely no control over what they were. Yet this June, they're determining whether you receive an extra £965 or nothing at all. If you want to understand exactly how this works and what you can do about it, whether you qualify or not, then stay with me because I'm about to show you the system nobody talks about. And if this kind of straight talk about money is what you need, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Tap the like button so more people can find this and share it with anyone you know who's retired or getting close, because I guarantee most of them have no idea this is even happening. Let me be completely clear from the start. This isn't some new government scheme. There's no special bonus being handed out, no emergency cost of living payment, and no announcement from Downing Street. What's happening right now, in June 2026, is the result of something much simpler and frankly much more frustrating. It's a quirk of the calendar combined with an old administrative rule that the Department for Work and Pensions set up years ago and never bothered to change. The system works the same way every single month, but every few years the dates line up in a particular way that gives one group of pensioners two full payments in the same calendar month, while everyone else gets exactly what they always get. And the group that benefits this time was decided purely by chance when your national insurance number was issued, probably when you were 16 or 17 years old and had no idea what those numbers would mean 50 years later. So here's how the whole thing actually works. The full new state pension, which applies to anyone who reached pension age after April 2016, currently pays £241.30 every week. That amount went up this April after the government applied a 4.8% increase under the triple lock system. But the DWP doesn't send you that money every week. Instead, they bundle 4 weeks together and pay it to you in one lump sum every 28 days. 4 weeks at £241.30 comes to £965.20. That's the figure most pensioners recognize when they see it land in their account every 4 weeks. Now, the specific day of the week when you get that payment isn't random. It's controlled entirely by the last two digits of your national insurance number. And the DWP locked this system in place years ago. If the last two digits of your NI number are anywhere between 00 and 19, you get paid every Monday. If they're between 20 and 39, you get paid every Tuesday. Between 40 and 59 means you're paid on Wednesday. Between 60 and 79 puts you on Thursday. And if your number ends between 80 and 99, you're paid on Friday. That's it. 5 groups of pensioners, 5 days of the week, completely fixed and non-negotiable. The system has been running like this for so long that most people don't even think about it anymore. You just know your money comes on a certain day, and that's that. But here's where June 2026 becomes different. Most months contain exactly 4 of each weekday. 4 Mondays, 4 Tuesdays, 4 Wednesdays, and so on. In a typical month, the 4 weekly pension cycle fits neatly inside the calendar, which means most pensioners get one payment per month and everything runs smoothly. But sometimes, because of how the calendar falls, a month ends up containing 5 of one particular weekday instead of 4. This June is one of those months, and the day that appears 5 times is Monday. June has Mondays on the 1st, the 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. 5 separate Mondays inside one calendar month. So if you're in the group that gets paid on Mondays, and if your personal 4 weekly payment cycle happens to line up with both the 1st of June and the 29th of June, then you're going to receive 2 complete state pension payments this month. That's £965 on the 1st and another £965 on the 29th. £1,930 hitting your bank account in a single month. That's nearly double what you'd normally see, and it's roughly what many working-age people receive from an entire month's salary in some parts of the country. Now, before you rush off to check your national insurance number, I need to make something really important clear. Not every single pensioner whose NI number ends between 00 and 19 will automatically get 2 payments this June. Whether you do or not depends on where you currently sit in your own 4-weekly cycle. The day of the week is fixed by your NI digits, yes, but the exact 4-weekly date is unique to you. It was set individually based on the date you first started receiving your state pension, so two pensioners could both have NI numbers ending in 05, which puts them both in the Monday group, but one might get paid on the 1st and 29th of June, while the other gets paid on the 8th and the 5th of July. Same day of the week, different cycle, completely different outcome for June. To know for certain whether this applies to you, there are two things you need to check right now. First, confirm that your NI number ends somewhere between 00 and 19. If it does, you're in the Monday payment group. Second, look at your most recent state pension payment and note the exact date it arrived in your bank account. Now add exactly 28 days to that date. If the result lands on either June the 1st or June the 29th, then congratulations, you're in the lucky group this month. If it lands on any other Monday in June, the 8th, 15th, or 22nd, then you'll only receive one payment in June, just like any other month. The next time the cycle benefits you might be months or even years away, depending on how the calendar falls. Roughly speaking, about 1 in 5 UK pensioners are in the Monday group, and within that group, somewhere between a quarter and a half will hit the double payment pattern this June, depending on their individual cycles. So we're talking about maybe 500,000 pensioners getting £1,930 this month, while the other 12 million or so pensioners get their normal single payment and wonder what all the fuss is about. If you're finding this kind of detailed breakdown genuinely helpful, then do me a quick favor and leave a comment below telling me what else you'd like me to cover, because I make these videos for people who actually want to understand how the system works, not just hear vague promises that never lead anywhere. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your reminder, because there's a lot more coming that you won't want to miss. The reason this whole situation matters goes beyond just the extra money for the few who get it. What this really exposes is how completely arbitrary the entire pension payment system actually is. There's no policy logic behind it. There's no calculation based on your needs or your contributions or your circumstances. It's purely a side effect of an administrative decision made decades ago about how to spread pension payments evenly across the working week so the DWP's payment systems wouldn't get overloaded on one particular day. The people who happen to have the right NI digits are now in 2026 slightly better off by pure accident. To really understand why the system even exists in this form, it helps to know where national insurance numbers came from in the first place. The entire structure was rolled out in the late 1940s as part of the post-war welfare state. Each person entering the system got assigned a number, and those numbers were essentially given out in sequence as people registered. There was no clever algorithm back then matching certain digits to certain payment days. The weekday payment rule got added much later as a way to manage the administrative workload and make sure the department wasn't trying to process millions of payments all on the same day every month. The digits at the end of your national insurance number weren't chosen by anyone thinking about your retirement or your financial security. They were chosen by a clerk in an office somewhere processing your paperwork on some random Tuesday afternoon when you were 16. That's the level of randomness we're dealing with here. And yet, in months like this one, those random digits create a difference of more than £1,000 between two people who are otherwise in identical situations. Let me give you a concrete example so you can see exactly how this plays out in real life. Imagine a woman named Margaret, 68 years old, living in a small flat in Liverpool. Her national insurance number ends in 07. That places her squarely in the Monday payment group. Her last state pension payment arrived in her account on Monday the 4th of May, £965.20 as usual. Add 28 days to that and her next payment is due on Monday the 1st of June. Add another 28 days and the payment after that lands on Monday the 29th of June. Both of those dates are inside the same calendar month, so Margaret is going to see £1,930 come into her account between the start and end of June. Now think about Margaret's neighbor David. He's 69, also retired, also receiving the new state pension, also living in the same building. His national insurance number ends in 73. That puts him in the Thursday payment group. June 2026 contains exactly 4 Thursdays. David will receive his normal single payment of £965 this month, exactly the same as every other month of the year. He hasn't done anything wrong. He hasn't missed a form or failed to claim something he's entitled to. The calendar simply doesn't line up in his favor this time around. Same age, same contribution record, same pension entitlement, separated by nearly £1,000 in 1 month, purely because of digits that were assigned to them half a century ago, before either of them had even started their first job. If that doesn't strike you as absurd, I don't know what would. But there's another layer to this that almost nobody is talking about, and this is where the news gets a bit less cheerful, even for the people in the Monday group. The state pension in the United Kingdom is taxable income. It doesn't get paid with tax already taken off. Instead, HMRC counts your state pension as part of your total taxable income, adds it to anything else you're getting, private pensions, part-time wages, interest from savings, and then taxes the whole lot once it goes above your personal allowance. The personal allowance has been frozen at £12,570 since April 2021, and it's staying frozen until at least April 2028, according to current Treasury plans. Meanwhile, the state pension keeps going up every year under the triple lock. For the 2026 to 2027 tax year, the full new state pension comes to £12,547 and 60 pence over the whole year. That's only £22 and 40 pence below the personal allowance, a £22 gap. That's all that's separating millions of pensioners from being pulled into the income tax system for the first time in their entire retirement. Now think about what happens if you're in the Monday double payment group this June. Your total annual state pension figure doesn't actually change. The extra payment in June just means the timing shifts slightly, and the next one after that gets pushed a bit later. But over the course of the full year, it all evens out to the same total. However, for anyone who has even a small amount of additional income on top of their state pension, maybe a modest private pension, or a few hours of part-time work each week, June 2026 is a very visible reminder of how thin that margin has become. An extra £965 in 1 month suddenly makes it very obvious that you're well above what most pensioners can absorb tax-free if they have any other income at all. If you have a private pension paying you even just a couple of £100 a month, you're almost certainly already inside the basic rate tax band, and if you didn't know that, you're not alone. HMRC quietly takes this tax through adjustments to your tax code on your private pension, and most pensioners never see a separate tax bill. The money just vanishes before it even reaches your account. So if you're in the Monday group and you're celebrating an extra £965 this month, then absolutely enjoy it. You've earned it. But be aware that for some of you, a portion of that money is already earmarked by HMRC, and depending on your total income, you may not see as much of it as you think. And for those of you who have a private pension of $6,000 or $7,000 a year or more, it might be worth sitting down with someone who understands tax codes and asking them to check whether yours is set correctly. Wrong tax codes are one of the most common mistakes I see affecting pensioners, and it can quietly cost you hundreds of pounds a year that you'd never even know to ask for back. There's one specific code you should watch out for. If you look at your private pension payslip and the tax code starts with the letters BR, that means basic rate tax is being applied to every single penny of that pension, with no personal allowance attached. That's the correct code in some situations, usually where your state pension already uses up your entire personal allowance. But it's also one of the codes that gets applied by mistake more often than any other, especially for people whose state pension is below the allowance, and who therefore should still have some tax-free amount left over. If you see BR on your private pension and you don't have another source of income using up your allowance, call HMRC and ask them to review it. The phone call costs nothing, and a corrected tax code could put hundreds of pounds back in your pocket this year alone. Now let's talk about the bigger group, the vast majority of pensioners who are reading headlines about £1,900 June payments, checking their national insurance number, and realizing they're nowhere near the Monday group, or they are, but their cycle doesn't line up. What I want to make absolutely clear is that this is not the end of the story for your income this month or any other month. There is another route to significantly more money, far more than the £965 bonus that the Monday group is seeing. And the DWP itself openly admits that hundreds of thousands of pensioners who are entitled to it are not claiming it. The benefit is called pension credit. It's been around for years, but the take-up is shockingly low. The DWP's own figures state that around 880,000 eligible pensioner households across the United Kingdom are currently not claiming it. That's the official estimate from the department itself. The average award is over £3,900 a year, and some people receive considerably more depending on their personal circumstances. Think about that for a second. The lucky pensioners in the Monday group are getting an extra £965 this month because of a calendar quirk. Pension credit, if you qualify and actually claim it, can give you more than £3,900 every single year, ongoing, plus it unlocks a whole list of other benefits and support that we'll get to in a moment. And it backdates up to 3 months from the date you apply, which means someone who applies today could receive close to £1,000 in backdated payments within a few weeks, plus continued top-ups every week going forward. The eligibility rules are actually simpler than most people think. You need to be over state pension age, which is currently 66, and gradually rising to 67 over the next couple of years. You need to live in England, Scotland, or Wales, and your weekly income needs to be below the pension credit threshold. For a single pensioner, that threshold is £238 a week. For a couple, it's £363 and 25 pence a week. If your total weekly income falls below those figures, you are very likely entitled to a top-up. One of the most common misconceptions is that having savings or owning your own home automatically disqualifies you. It doesn't. Owning your home has no effect on eligibility whatsoever. Savings up to £10,000 are completely ignored in the calculation. Savings above £10,000 are treated as though they produce a small amount of weekly income, but in the vast majority of cases, that doesn't disqualify people, it just slightly reduces the amount of the top-up. I've spoken to so many pensioners who would easily qualify but have talked themselves out of applying because they assumed they owned too much or had too much saved. That assumption is wrong in most cases. Let me give you a real-world example. A widow living alone in a house she owns outright, receiving a state pension of £210 a week with £15,000 in savings. On the surface, she might think she has too much. In reality, the savings above $10,000 are treated as producing about £4 a week in notional income. Add that to her £210 state pension, and her assessed income is £214, well below the 238 threshold for a single person. She qualifies. The top-up brings her income up to the threshold, and it also unlocks a range of other entitlements that together are worth far more than the cash payment alone. Here's your third reminder to take action, and I'm saying it differently this time because I want it to stick. If you know someone who's struggling on their pension, someone who's cutting back on heating or skipping meals or worrying about bills, send them this video right now. Not later, right now, because the information in here could genuinely change their situation and they're not going to find it anywhere else. And if you're that person yourself, keep watching, because what comes next could be worth thousands. Pension credit isn't just about the weekly cash top-up. Receiving it acts as a passport to a long list of other forms of support that can together be worth several £1,000s more every year. Free NHS dental treatment, help with the cost of glasses through NHS optical vouchers, council tax reduction, which depending on where you live and your circumstances can cut your council tax bill by hundreds of pounds a year, or in some cases remove it altogether, especially if you're also entitled to the single-person discount. The savings are real, and they repeat every single year you remain on pension credit. Cold weather payments during qualifying winter periods, a free TV license if you're over 75, help with mortgage interest if you still have a mortgage in retirement, and critically, eligibility for the winter fuel payment, which under the current rules is now linked to pension credit status. That connection alone, pension credit unlocking winter fuel payment, is why hundreds of pensioners contact Age UK about pension credit every single week during autumn and winter. The winter fuel payment is worth between £200 and £300 a year, and without pension credit you no longer automatically qualify for it. So the real comparison here isn't between £965 in June for the lucky ones and nothing for everyone else. It's between £965 in June and potentially £3,900 every year, plus a wave of additional support for anyone who qualifies for pension credit but hasn't claimed it yet. The second figure is bigger, more reliable, and available right now, but only if you take the step of actually applying. Let me talk about the application process, because this is where a lot of pensioners hesitate or give up. Pension credit applications are done by phone, not online, which surprises people in 2026. You'll find the number on the gov.uk website, and the line is open Monday to Friday during normal working hours. The call itself usually takes about 20 to 30 minutes, and the person on the other end will guide you through every question. You'll need your national insurance number, details of all your income including state pension, private pensions, and any earnings, and details of your savings and investments. If you live with a partner, you'll need the same information for them as well. Decisions usually arrive within 2 to 4 weeks by post, and if you qualify, the backdated payment lands in your account shortly after that. I want to address something that stops a lot of pensioners from even trying, and that's the fear of being refused. The worry of going through the whole process, making the phone call, answering all the questions, and then being told no. I hear this constantly and I understand it completely. But here are two things worth knowing. First, the pension credit system has a built-in appeal process called mandatory reconsideration, which costs nothing and is handled entirely by post. You have 1 month from receiving a refusal letter to ask the DWP to look at the decision again. A significant number of initial refusals get overturned at this stage, often because the original assessment missed something or applied the rules incorrectly. Second, being refused once doesn't stop you from applying again in the future. Circumstances change all the time. A spouse passes away, a private pension ends, savings get spent on a necessary repair or medical expense. Any of these can shift you across the threshold and make you eligible when you weren't before. The system is designed to be reapplied to, so there's no shame and no penalty in trying again when things change. If the process feels intimidating, Age UK runs a free helpline staffed by trained advisors who will sit with you on the phone and walk you through the application step by step. Citizens Advice offers the same service, neither charges anything, and both exist specifically to help pensioners through exactly this kind of process. Don't let the paperwork or the phone call put you off. Far too many people have lost years of payments simply because they kept putting it off until next month, and then it never happened. Here's what I'd suggest you actually do this week, laid out in practical steps. First, find your national insurance number and check the last 2 digits. Also note the date of your most recent state pension payment. If your NI number ends anywhere from 00 to 19 and your last payment landed in early May, then your next 2 payments are very likely the 1st of June and the 29th of June. Mark both dates clearly and check your bank account on those days. If a payment doesn't arrive when you expect it, contact the pension service straight away, because payment errors do happen and they're much easier to fix while the dates are still recent. Second, regardless of whether you're in the Monday group or not, use the government's free pension credit calculator. You can find it by going to gov.uk and searching for pension credit calculator. It takes about 5 minutes to fill in, and it gives you an indication, completely anonymously and free of charge, of whether you're likely to qualify. If the calculator suggests you might be eligible, then making the phone application is your next step, and the Age UK helpline can support you through that if you'd rather have someone guiding you. Third, if you receive any private pension income at all, even a small one, ask HMRC to confirm that your tax code is correct for the 2026 to 2027 tax year. You can do this online through your personal tax account or by calling them. Wrong tax codes are one of the single most common reasons pensioners overpay tax without ever realizing. And with the state pension now sitting just £22 below the personal allowance, the room for error has never been smaller. Let me bring all of this together so it's completely clear. June 2026 has 5 Mondays. Pensioners whose national insurance numbers end between 00 and 19 and whose personal 4-weekly payment cycle lines up with the 1st and the 29th will receive 2 full state pension payments this month, totaling around £1,930. The rest of the pensioner population, roughly 12 million households, will receive their usual single payment, but for those who aren't in the lucky group, and even for many who are, the much larger opportunity is pension credit, an underclaimed benefit worth more than £3,900 a year, on average, that the DWP itself confirms is missing from the budgets of 880,000 eligible pensioner households right across the country. The lesson here is straightforward. The British pension system rewards people who pay attention to the details. Two pensioners with identical work histories and identical contributions can end up with vastly different retirement incomes, depending on whether one of them called HMRC to check a tax code, applied for pension credit, or knew that owning a home doesn't automatically rule you out of means-tested support. All the information is there. All the forms and helplines and calculators are available, but nobody is going to knock on your door and hand it to you. The state pays what you claim, not what you're owed in theory, but never asked for. Don't let a calendar quirk decide what kind of June you have. Check your NI digits. Check your pension credit eligibility. Check your tax code. Those three checks, done this week, will give you a clearer picture of your actual retirement income than anything the DWP will ever send you in the post. And if this breakdown was genuinely useful to you, send it to someone else who needs to see it. Subscribe if you haven't already. There's a lot more coming. I'll see you in the next one.